It may be dull outside weather-wise in the winter of the UK, but wherever you're tuning in from, I hope you're keeping cosy, warm, and excited about the prospect of what is to come next between Edhouse and Bunting. An all-English encounter as we get another glimpse of Ritchie Edhouse. Saw a little bit of him last week.
100.
But what will 2022 bring for Stephen Bunting, we wonder?
100.
Last week, Stephen Bunting played 9 matches. Not bad for your first weekend. Averaging 96.34. Now, if he was to maintain that kind of statistical brilliance over the course of a Players' Championship season,
100.
He's going to have a good time of it, because that would have put him around about the 10th spot in Players' Championship averaging last year.
60.
And that's where you want to be, because if you're in the top 10, the likelihood is you'll pick up a win.
90.
It's no guarantee, but it's a pretty good benchmark. Wins last week for Bunting over the likes of Andrew Gilding. Alan Suter took out Dimitri
93.
Vandenberg last Saturday in making the last 16, but it was better on Sunday, where he made the quarter-finals.
171.
He might have been disappointed in not making the semis, but he won't be disappointed with that 171 setup. But hang on. Oh, now he's a lucky boy, because for a moment Edhouse thought that he was on double 14. Tops for Stephen.
Game
And
shot.
double 10 is plugged with no stress whatsoever. Really nice there from Bunting. 14 dart break and a very strong start to Saturday. Of course, this is not very far from where Stephen hails from. I
180.
suppose we could talk about the red of Liverpool. He's found plenty of red there. The red on the shirt signifying where he's from. The county of Merseyside, where Wigan is in, of course.
30.
He does live in St Helens at the minute, which is just across the M6 motorway. So this is about as local as it gets for Stephen.
180.
And he's making those darts feel right at home, because he's now on a 9. And Edhouse is a country mile behind.
97.
For a home board 9-darter, Stephen doesn't hit the back of the net like Mo Salah. But he does set up a 10. What a leg from Stephen Bunting. Picked up a Players' Championship win in 2021.
42.
A title he thoroughly deserved. He deserves this leg.
No score.
Well, no harm done. He does bust it, but you can see that Stephen has just taken that one on the chin, as if to say, well, if I'm going to miss it, it doesn't really matter where I miss it.
100.
If it's low, whether it's outside the border or bust, as long as I'm coming back and I take it this time.
Game shot.
Which is exactly what he does. Ritchie Edhouse has got to get a hold of this game rather quickly, because if Stephen's going to score the way he has in the first 2 legs, Edhouse has got
100.
problems. Edhouse, who hails from Essex, but has been residing in East
100.
Sussex over the last couple of years since he switched his management. Flick of the eyebrows before he gets a maximum there. He's never been a player that has exuded the greatest deal of confidence for me, Ritchie Edhouse. If I was to give him one piece of advice on top of maybe giving him an extra dart against Stephen Bunting right now, it would be to believe in himself a little bit more.
42.
Because if he did, I think he'd find the next level. The first battle that you face when you come into these buildings with these players, the talent around you, is the feeling of belonging in this company. And if you feel like you belong,
119.
you'll do well. Bunting looking to break the Edhouse heart, and he almost set up the bull.
77 scored.
Look at Edhouse in the background as if to say, "Ooh, that was close." He was right.
97.
Now this single, he would love it to be right of centre. That's not bad, he doesn't have to move.
Game shot.
That's a beautifully executed out. And Edhouse does break his duck for Saturday. When you've got the 60 checkout, you don't want to have to traverse the oche left or right. That's why he wanted that single just right of centre, so he could stay where he is. And from that camera angle, you can see he's pretty central on that oche. 6 matches for Edhouse last week, averaging a very respectable 93 and change. Lost out to the winner on Saturday, Luke Humphreys.
41.
And in fact, he posted his best average last Sunday of the entire weekend in a game that he lost
58.
to Michael van Gerwen. He put up the ultimate ice cream average, 99.99.
125.
But he wasn't able to put a flake in it because he lost 6 legs to 5.
'83.
We haven't seen the most important part of this match yet. Far from it. It could go in either direction.
140.
And the winner of this one is going to take on either Brett Claydon, who is a stablemate. I was going to say stalemate there. No stalemate here.
108.
Unless, of course, we go 2-2 with legs to come. But stablemate Brett Claydon of Ritchie Edhouse. They have the same manager,
109.
and they would love to play each other. But first, he's got to take care of Stephen Bunting. 51 needed for Bull. Bull it is.
96.
Excellent try. But Stephen now goes for the double that is furthest away from him, all the way down on the right side of the oche, but he's just shortened that a bit by coming to the centre. And how has that gone in? No facial turn or any change of expression from Stephen Bunting, as if to say, I meant that. I assure you, that was not the part of the section he was going for. Look at this. How has that gone in like that? Someone please get in touch with Caltech in California in the physics department and tell me how that went in.
96.
The fact of the matter is, Stephen Bunting is one of the most gifted dart players that I've ever watched. I remember being in a social club in
96.
Toxteth in Merseyside 20 years ago, and he was doing exhibition shots with all the youth players upstairs while there was a county game going on downstairs. He was throwing darts backwards, he was throwing darts with no flights, he was able to do anything. So when he's got legitimate kit, he is one of the best players in the world.
133.
He sets up a 1-3-2 out. And that's a good dart for Bunting,
Yeah.
because that means it's not single to Bull here, but he does recover for double 16.
54.
Now what can Stephen do with this? He took 32 majestically. How about 100 more? Oh, it's the Bull. Just overfires it.
87.
And the bullet misses.
Game shot.
That one doesn't. And Ritchie has every right to feel quite fortunate that he's only one behind.
$140.
When Stephen Bunting is playing this well, he is a joy to watch. And on a day where we've talked about
35.
the changing, possibly, of the world #1 spot for the first time in over a year, Stephen Bunting is trying to improve his position.
180.
He's improving his position in the match with another max. But he's currently at 20th in the world.
60.
He's got plenty of scope for improvement this year.
$99.
Stephen lost out to Jose Justicia in the qualifier for
134.
Hildesheim, the second European Tour event of the season, by 6 legs to 4 yesterday. That would have been a shock.
$50.
But in this position, Stephen will be thinking about nothing but victory.
121.
Not a good last start there from Ritchie Edhouse. But Bunting goes back to the scene of that magical double 16 from earlier. And this one's a bit more textbook, you could say, as he restores a 2-leg gap here. You can see the angle of the dart there. And that emphasises just how far right he does throw them from
93.
on this hockey. Ritchie Edhouse yesterday in the European Tour 2 qualifier lost out to Keegan Brown.
140.
So this is a really tricky position for Ritchie. You can see a little bit of pain on his face, as if to say, I haven't played badly, just not as good as my opponent. Bunting's average is
180.
quite superior in this one, it's fair to say. He's a good 10 ahead of Ritchie Edhouse, and when that is the case,
180.
more often than not, you're going to be well in command. Not always, just most of the time. But you've got to give Edhouse some credit here. He's been completely
140.
walloped in scoring here, but he's given himself a chance of an 11-darter. Double 18. He needs this.
87.
And he pushed that one a little late. And that's the mistake that could invite Bunting in to put himself within the final furlong, but that's a slip. That leaves Michael Jordan, 23. Oh, and he's finding everything. Even when he makes a mistake, he's able to recover. Superb checkout in the end. It's now 5-2 to Stephen Bunting after that 12-dart break. All the pressure he
85.
heaped on Edhouse, who was sitting on 96 after 9. And he's thinking, I've put the pressure on, but I'm still going to lose the leg. Because Ritchie's got 2 dots at double, but Ritchie made the mistake. A mistake that Bunting did not.
$60.
There have been some great performances today so far, but the day is young.
108.
And don't forget last week when Ritchie Edhouse was playing Michael Smith. And remember, Stephen Bunting's from St Helens, the same place as Michael Smith. So if he comes
59.
back from 5-2 down to beat Stephen Bunting here, he will have a very good record in comebacks against St Helens dart players in a week, because last week he
59.
was 5-1 down and won 6-5. He had no right to win that game, but he did.
83.
So Edhouse, 6 starts from here to accomplish mission 1. Win this leg,
40.
then move on to the next. His world right now is concentrated into very small victories.
58.
Don't give Bunting a shot at 156. Double 16.
Game shot.
That is a lovely check out and a lovely 15-dart break. So Bunting's had the chance to serve this one out in 5 visits. He wasn't able to. So the fight back is on. And he's in that very doable position
98.
that we talk about a lot in best of 11 leg darts. 5-3 down, but it's only 1 break of throw.
100.
That's something that our co-commentator this weekend, Mark Webster, I'm sure will talk about, because it's one of the things that you think about when you are being beaten convincingly,
140.
but you're still in position to get the win, even when your average is a good 2 to 3 behind, like our graphic just illustrated. Bunting on 101, Edhouse
60.
touching 100. I just wonder what we're going to see here today. Could we have
96.
another first-time winner like we got last Saturday with Luke Humphreys? Well, he's not going to dip his bread twice in a week because he's out. Gerwin Price, the last winner in this building
60.
in a PDC ranked event, he's gone, so it's not going to be him. Could it be one of the players that
59.
aren't on the radar? Could it be somebody from Q School potentially getting an early win in their career? You'll have to stay with us for the rest of the afternoon to find out. And the final will be somewhere between 5:15 local time and maybe around 6 o'clock, depending on how these results go over the course of the afternoon. But Edhouse
76.
misses for the 5-4 deficit and is afforded 3 darts at double 16 when he returns.
Yeah.
120 confirmed by Andrew Davies, our highly experienced referee. So Edhouse now, don't miss. Oh, it's tricky. He's got to force it through. He's going for the top bin.
16.
It was a risk, but maybe it was a risk worth taking. And Stephen Bunting now gets match point. Double 4 is good to him, and he did get across the line in the end. He did all of the hard work early, and it was a stunning burst from Bunting, but ultimately Edhouse will go back to his table and ultimately back to his hotel thinking, I had a chance of that comeback once again. 99.6.